Welcome back to Real Talk with Susan Stone and Christina Supler. We are full-time moms and attorneys bringing our student defense legal practice to life with real, candid conversations. Off to school time is happening, and I think you and I need to explore what we saw last year to hopefully give our listeners some food for thoughts this school year for younger kids, the middle school and high school crowd.
Today, we're going to talk about the digital landscape and what parents need to know and what's going on out
And
there.
what's new? And what's new today will not be new. It changes every day. So I think our first piece of advice to parents is stay on it.
And don't give up hope. I mean, so often we hear, I don't know, I'm not good with tech. These kids and their phones, who knows? But I mean, at the end of the day, it's you don't have to know the intricacies of how to post the most perfect video. You just have to understand the platforms that kids are using and generally what's going on and what are the dangers of those platforms, really.
So to prepare, I called my rising senior and said, "What is everyone in your grade on?" I thought I'd start there. And I wasn't surprised. We knew the answers.
TikTok and Snapchat.
TikTok and Snapchat. Everybody is both viewing and making videos on TikTok. TikTok is trending really well. And that B-roll, be real, right, Christina?
Be real.
Be real.
Real film. Ha ha ha.
Got it. Where they would send a notification and then you have to take a quick picture. What was the purpose of that? That was a new one.
I guess to be spontaneous and be your authentic self versus having these, perfectly choreographed videos. But at any rate, it's always changing. But I mean, there's ways for parents to find out what's going on out there.
Word of advice on Snapchat. So the whole idea, parents, for those of you who don't know, is that you send a snap, I guess that's what it's called, and then it disappears. But does it?
Da, da, da. I would say yes and no, or sometimes. I mean, it seems like every case that we have, there's an issue with Snapchat, and sometimes messages are recoverable, believe it or not, through backup files and other means and forensic analysis, but often they're not. And, again, sometimes it's a blessing that messages can't be recovered, and other times you're like, oh, I would do anything if we could track down these messages. So, I think Snapchat, it's one of those things where the bottom line should be you don't know what's going to happen. Just be thoughtful about what you put out into the universe.
And don't assume just because you send a snap to somebody that it is going to disappear before someone has had a chance to take a screenshot and show and reproduce and send off that snap. Careful what you snap in a snap.
Amen. There you go.
There you go.
What what can parents do at home to educate their children about online safety and then model healthy behaviors?
Well, I don't like lecturing. It never works. I think modeling healthy behaviors.
I totally agree.
Can I just share one pet peeve that I see all the time? I hate phones at the dinner table.
I agree. And in my house, we're actually very strict about that because if we weren't, there absolutely be a cell phone and an iPad at the dinner table. And there'd be a YouTube video playing in the background. And my husband and I are always like, turn it off, turn it off. And it's just sort of like eye roll. Okay, mom, fine. But if we didn't make them do it, they wouldn't do it.
Well, let's be clear. Adults are just as bad about looking at their phone at the
Absolutely.
table.
Oh my gosh. Absolutely. It's how often I know I catch myself all the time. I'm in a conversation, I'm listening, and then I pull out my phone and I'm still kind of listening, but I'm also like totally engrossed in my Instagram feed. And it's just, you don't even realize how splintered your attention is.
Do not look at your phone while you're driving. That is a no bueno.
Distracted driving is a huge problem. And I don't have data. I wish I had some study to cite. I'm sure there's good research out there, but I would say the reality is regardless of your age, texting and driving, bad, dangerous. Because if you're looking at your phone, by definition, you're not looking at the road.
I'm very mindful that my children have always seen a pile of books very messily next to on my bedstand next to my bed.
Same with me.
I mean, I always have 5 books going, but the other night I caught myself looking at my phone, and it's not good for healthy sleep.
No, and actually that was something I guess you could say I had the good fortune of learning back in college. I had tremendous trouble with sleeping
I still
and
do.
insomnia. I would dread going to bed because I would just lay there for hours and hours and hours.
The worst.
Yeah, and through that though, I learned the importance of having really good boundaries with electronics and the bedroom. And so not laying in bed on your phone or not looking at your laptop, shooting off some emails before you try to go to bed because you can't wind down.
Well, and again, it's that modeling. If you want your kids not to be addicted to their devices, we have to establish healthy boundary with our own devices
Absolutely. So what are your thoughts, Susan, on how to help promote really healthy offline connections?
by doing.
Yeah.
Again, it's that modeling. It is summer. Summer is short. I think it's important to, when I know when I go out and walk the dog, to just say, hey, you want to come with me to walk the dog?
Yeah, and I think this is one of those things that it's ironic that we're talking about this in the context of healthy tech habits because I think the practical advice is rooted in just old-fashioned behaviors. And by that I mean just do stuff, try sports, try other clubs, maybe it's theater, just find stuff that's interesting. And it's through trial and error. Some kids are going to find stuff easier than others that they like. Some kids like everything they do. Others don't. Others, it's a more difficult journey to find stuff that's interesting and exciting. But you just have to keep encouraging them. You can't, I think as parents, it's so easy. We come home from work, we're exhausted. Our children just want to be left alone in their bedrooms, but we still have to encourage them to do stuff. We still have to make the effort to have conversations, right?
It was really challenging during the pandemic. Everybody lived virtually.
Mm-hmm.
For me, the conversation is how lucky we are that we're not living that pandemic life, even though, of course, people still get COVID and it's here to stay. We're not locked in our homes. We can interact. There are people out and about, and to really show gratitude for things that were taken away from us.
That's such a great point about, essentially perspective. Because if you think about it, in 2021, 2020, when we were locked in our houses and couldn't go anywhere, it was just like, oh, you'd do anything. It'd be exciting to go to Target, right? And now it's interesting to see how sometimes we lose perspective on having the ability to go out and do things and socialize and interact with people.
I'm loving going to the movies again. I don't care what anybody says. To me, there is nothing better than getting a big box of Junior Mints and sitting and watching a flick in a theater. I love it.
I so want to be with you on this one, but I don't like movie theaters. I am one of those people. I'd rather watch a movie in the comfort of my own home. But I hear you, though. I agree with your point, generally speaking. Let's just getting out and doing things.
And live theater.
Mm-hmm.
It's summer concerts,
Yeah. Yeah.
musical theater. I have my tickets for 6.
Oh, yes. I was looking at that over the
It's
weekend.
the best. It'll be the second time I saw it. So I'm a repeat offender for sometimes seeing the same musicals. But everybody out there needs to stay informed on what's happening online and be cautious about online bullying too.
Oh, that's such an important topic. And I actually think particularly with younger children now,
Middle school.
it's something that they're very aware of because they're taught so much about it in school, which is a good thing that they know about it because let's face it, it does happen. And I mean, I don't want to be a total Debbie Downer, but let's face it, the internet is full of dangerous stuff and people with bad intentions.
The last topic I want to bring up is FOMO.
Mm, tell me
Really,
more.
let's talk about this because I think here again, modeling can come through. Just because you see people smiling on that Instagram picture, it's a it's a picture. It's a moment in time. It's okay if you're not included in that event.
This
Don't
is
feel bad.
this is so it's interesting you bring this up because in my household, the issue with FOMO had to do with Taylor Swift tickets because we did not have the
Oh.
much sought after tickets, and
Was everyone saying, "Yay, I got my tickets online"?
they went, and we were the only ones who didn't. And it was, I mean, kidding aside, it was like it was a big thing in my house. And, we just sort of had to work through it. But, to your point, Susan, you see these photos on Instagram and wherever, whatever the platform is, it doesn't really matter. And everyone's smiling and happy and in, cool outfits. But, it's important that children and adults alike, we don't lose sight of the fact that, it's not reality always.
And, one of the things I said to my kids growing up is you're invited and you are placed where you're meant to be. And that's okay. You're meant to be somewhere else and just be grateful for where you are and not in life and not what you think you missed out on.
Yeah, and I mean, something in our house that we talk about a lot is just the idea of treat others the way you want to be treated, which again is so simple and basic, but I mean, it works in all facets of life.
All facets. Glad we had this little chat.
Indeed. To our listeners, thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks for listening to Real Talk with Susan and Christina. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to our show so you never miss an episode. And leave us a review so other people can find the content we share here. You can follow us on Instagram, just search our handle @StoneSupler. And for more resources, visit us online at studentdefense.kjk.com. Thank you so much for being a part of our Real Talk community. We'll see you next time.